Hello friends, welcome back to Technique. In this video, we will be talking about the cameras on the Oppo Reno 14. Now Oppo Reno 14 this time around comes with a triple camera setup. It has a proper telephoto lens. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device. So the Reno 14 series comes in two devices, the Reno 14 and the Reno 14 Pro. Now the differentiating aspect in terms of camera is that you get a triple 50 megapixel camera on the Pro variant, while it's a dual 50 megapixel and an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and the front camera is both 50 megapixel on both the devices. So again, processor varies, but then camera setup, this is the major difference. Now here let's see how good the camera experience is. One of the really good telephoto lenses we have in this price segment with optical image stabilization, 3.5x zoom is available. So let's see how good the camera experience is on the Reno 14. So let's begin the camera review of the Oppo Reno 14. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So before going into the camera samples, let's quickly have a look at the hardware offered. Now the primary camera is a 50 megapixel shooter. It's a Sony IMX882 sensor, f1.8 aperture, optical image stabilization is included. Now the secondary camera is the Samsung's JN5 sensor. It's again optical image stabilization is included. It has 3.5x zoom. It's a telephoto lens, and the third camera is an 8 megapixel omnivision ultra wide angle shooter. So that's the rear camera. Now both the primary and the secondary camera, the telephoto and the primary, can do 4K 60 fps in HDR mode. Now the front camera is once again Samsung's JN5 sensor with autofocus enabled, so that's something which is pretty good. Once again, the front camera can do 4K 60 fps in HDR option, so that's something which Oppo has done really good. 4K across all the three cameras except the ultra wide, all the three cameras gets 4K 60 fps footage. So let's now figure out how good the camera experience is on the Reno 14. So let's first have a look at the daylight captures taken with this device. In terms of daylight conditions, you can see that the Reno 14 does produce pretty good images. You can also see that the colors are very much natural looking. There is absolutely no over sharpening or saturated colors, and the details looks pretty good actually. The color reproduction is something which we really like, and overall the sharpness levels and details of the images definitely looks good. The dynamic range also looks pretty good with the primary 50 megapixel shooter. So overall I would say in terms of daylight conditions, the 50 megapixel shooter does a really good job, and overall the clarity of the images looks good, and the dynamic range and the colors are also done really well. So overall the 50 megapixel shooter does impress with a good quality, good sharpness levels and detailing. Now when it comes to the telephoto lens, the 3.5x telephoto lens also produces good images, good sharpness levels and details, but occasionally you can see that the colors are slightly richer, not exactly the same colors as the primary camera. Although it is not a major issue, here and there you can see that the colors are slightly richer in tones when compared to the primary camera, but the details and sharpness levels looks good, and even the dynamic range looks good. Now the 8 megapixel shooter, it's quite an average shooter, I would say. It's not the best out there, especially in terms of dynamic range, but overall I would say it is kind of usable, although it may not be as good as the primary and the telephoto lens, but still usable. Now when it comes to macros, you can also take macros using the Reno 14, and it has come quite good, I would say. Although the sharpness level is not that impressive, but it's still very usable in terms of overall quality, and we definitely like the macro shots taken with the Reno 14. So you can take some pretty good close-up images and macro shots using this camera. Now moving on to the portraits, the Reno 14 does a quite good job with the portrait camera. You can take portraits using either the primary camera or the telephoto lens. We have taken mixed, we have used both the cameras actually, and both have come pretty good actually. The colors are slightly different between the two cameras, but nevertheless the portraits have come pretty good. The edge detection is good, and the overall clarity of the images looks pretty good with the Reno 14. So the portrait shots have come really great, and the bokeh effect looks good. Even the low light portraits also turned out to be pretty good. Now moving on to the low light conditions. In indoor artificial light, the images produced are pretty good. There is good amount of details and sharpness levels. And when it comes to extreme low light, when the night mode kicks in, it is also producing pretty good images. The details and sharpness levels are good. The noise is controlled, and overall clarity of the images definitely looks good. There isn't much to complain here in terms of the low light experience. Overall, the low light experience is maintained as low light. It doesn't over highlight or overexpose the images, and overall the low light quality definitely looks good. But the low light quality from the telephoto lens was kind of very much average. It was kind of blurry and not so great in terms of noise levels. Now the selfie camera, 50 megapixel shooter, does a good job, and you can see that you can take wide angle, ultra wide and close up selfies. It's just the in-sensor zoom, and the overall quality images looks good. The skin tones are quite well done, and the overall dynamic range and sharpness levels looks good. The portrait selfies also turned out to be pretty good. So overall, I would say the 50 megapixel selfie camera does a pretty good job. So you won't be disappointed with the selfies. Now moving on to the video recording. Now the 4K 60 FPS footage using the rear camera is pretty good. You can see here the stabilization looks good, although at times there is a slight jittery effect, but not a major concern. It still is good in terms of overall quality, and detailing looks good, and the dynamic range and also colors are pretty good. Now the 1080p resolution also looks pretty much similar. The 1080p 60 fps, the stabilization is done well, and the colors are also quite good, and the details are also done pretty well with the 1080p 60 fps footage. Now this is the 4K 60 fps footage taken in HDR mode. You can see that the dynamic range looks pretty good, and the stabilization and colors is slightly richer, I would say, but still it does maintain pretty good clarity in terms of video footage. Now the phone can also record videos 4K 60 fps using the telephoto lens as well. You can see that the stabilization is quite good, and the details and sharpness levels are also quite done well using the telephoto lens. Now the ultra wide can shoot only in 1080p resolution, and you can see it's kind of very much average footage because it's an 8 megapixel shooter and quite average in terms of footage. So this is the camera sample taken from the Oppo Reno 14 with a 50 megapixel shooter, which is capable of recording videos in 4K 60 fps from the selfie camera as well. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output, and it also can record videos in HDR format. So this is the 4K 60 fps video taken in HDR format using the selfie camera on the Oppo Reno 14. You can also take portrait video using the selfie camera. So right now we have enabled the bokeh effect, and you can see how good the background blur effect is on this video taken using the 50 megapixel selfie camera on the Reno 14. So that was the detailed camera review of the Oppo Reno 14. So overall, I would say Reno 14 does provide a pretty good camera setup in the sub 40,000 price segment, with the primary and the telephoto lens providing great experience. The low light, the selfies, portraits, everything looks good, and the selfie camera also has good experience. And all the three cameras except the ultra wide can record 4K 60 fps, and also HDR format is supported, which makes it a pretty good versatile camera in this price segment. So summing up, I would say the Reno 14 does provide a pretty good overall experience in terms of camera. So what do you guys think about the cameras on the Reno 14? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Normal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day.